Alright guys, today I'm going to show you a little tool that I made for Amnesia which allows you to easily import an animated GIF that you can display in your custom story or mod. And it's quite simple. Well, the process is a little lengthy. It's not too advanced, but it's a little lengthy. But it is a lot shorter than actually doing this manually. I can tell you that. But anyways, I'm going to show you a little demonstration to begin with. I found this GIF here, that GIF, whatever. It's running at a bit lower frame rate than normal. And I imported this into Amnesia using the tool, and I can show you the result of how that looked in the game. I also added a little fade-in effect, just because, just so it would fit. So let me start up the tutorial file I have here. It's pretty much only containing that animation, so it might take a little while to load, but this is basically how it looks right now. And it looks pretty smooth in my opinion. It's currently running at, I believe it's 20 FPS, which is not a very high frame rate, but it seems to work fairly well for animations like these. And that's the whole thing. So yeah, at the end of that you can just do whatever you want, or you could just have this running on a loop, perhaps something running on a TV screen in your game, or maybe you want animated intros or cutscenes. I mean, whatever you want really. It could be useful, I think. I think it's pretty cool. Anyways, so basically you can sort of display animations in the game itself by using an animated material that loops through images, but it has to be applied to a spotlight, as far as I know, and it will use it like as a shape kind of on the light itself. So it's kind of like light dependent, and this one is a lot more independent, a lot more customizable. You have a lot more control over it. You can even change the frame rate like during the animation if you'd like. But anyways, so I guess I could show you just basically the structure, and then I'm going to show you how to use the tool. So first of all, we have the basic custom story right here with the maps folder, extra lang, and settings and picture. And then there's the entities folder, which contains the animation. There's a folder called anim right here, which does have the animation itself. It's a quite a big folder. This animation is not very long, but it's 40 megabyte because each individual frame has been exported into a JPEG image. I could have compressed it a bit more. I put it on the max quality just because, but of course reducing the quality in JPEG from 12 to like 10 like halves the size or some shit. I don't know. But anyways, here is the entire folder, and here are all the frames. As you can see, they're called frame 000, frame 001. And they're all JPEGs, and this goes all the way up to approximately 500 frames, almost 500, 494 including 000. So there are all the frame images, which are probably the biggest part of this whole folder, and then there are below here, if you ignore this one for a sec, we have frame_0.ent and frame_0.mat. And each of these files, there's one ent file and one mat file for each image, because the material just displays the image, and the entity allows you to put it into your level and enable it and disable it using a script. And the entity only really contains a placeholder mesh as well as a billboard using this material. So basically there are 2 of these files for each image, therefore making it almost 1,000 of these files in total, 500 for each, going all the way up to 493 in numbering. And then at the bottom here I just have these placeholder files: video, placeholder.mat, mesh, and DDS. You'll find these in the download for the tool, because they are required in order to run the program. I might update the program a lot in the future, because right now it's basically just released. It's functional, but I might want to tweak a few things and add a few things, perhaps customizable things. Perhaps I can add your own placeholder file, but right now this one is the one required because it's hard-coded into the app that it generates these files to actually point to this file. So this file is actually necessary at the moment. But basically, this is the model file for it. The texture is at the bottom. And it's basically only two planes, one facing each side. They're both completely transparent. They show up black right here, but they are completely, like the alpha channel is completely black, which makes it invisible. But it does allow you to click on the object in the level editor, because if you do not have a mesh applied, well, for one, all the billboards will be pointing or will be located at 000 chords, which is annoying. You can't move them. Well, they will look like you can move them, but you can't really. You can't click something that isn't showing texture towards you, which is kind of strange, but I guess I found that out the hard way, perhaps. I don't know. Basically, for example, if you're in the level editor and you're inside a mesh, you can't really select it from inside. You have to select it from the outside, the way the texture is facing. Therefore, I put two planes, and also, yeah, because having only one plane would mean the texture only goes one way, and you wouldn't be able to select it from the back. But anyways, that is pretty much it for the files, except for two more files. At the top here, there is the animation.expobj, which is the exported object. The tool also generates this file, which you can easily import into your level using the file menu, because, well, I don't know if it's a very used feature, but it is very handy indeed. If you want to move something from one level to another, you can just select the objects and then export as one OBJ file, and then you can import it into another level. And this is one of those files you can import easily, and then you can just move the whole thing. You might even want to make it into a compound just so it's easy, because you likely want to keep all the frames in the same location, just to make sure you don't move something away from each other. There's the animation expobj file. And there should be, actually I don't think I have it in this folder, no, I moved it, but the tool also allows you to export a script file, which I moved in here. Just ignore these other files. The animation.map and animation.hps. The script allows you to export the the tool allows you to export the script, which you can put into your level. Just copy paste it basically into your level. And you probably want to tweak it, because by default it's not actually executed, so because that's up to you how you want it to happen. But it's a very short script that just loops through the images. You already seen the demonstration, so I suppose I could start from the beginning and show you how the whole thing works. Right now we have the GIF file, and one thing you might be wondering, how do you get this GIF file into separate images? And well, there are several methods. You can do this. I found a very good one using Photoshop. I'm not sure if the same thing is available for like GIMP and similar programs, but I know it's for Photoshop. And if like there is that one site that allows you to split up GIF images. However, it does give you the individual GIF files in the GIF format, which is not actually supported by the HPL. It allows you to actually select a file, but I tried it with a GIF strip, GIF animation, and it just errored out. It didn't show up. It said it couldn't load the material file with the GIF format, so I suppose it's not supported, so I removed it from the tool. But yeah, I'm going to be using Photoshop to split it up. If you don't have Photoshop, then I'm not sure exactly the best way of doing this, because, well, there are more ways, but I'm not the most aware. Hopefully you can find a method of splitting up your animation. You can even use a video animation. It doesn't matter, because the end result is that you will have everything split into individual images, so it doesn't really matter what the original format is. But alright, so here I have opened the image in Photoshop, the GIF that is. It has like 500 layers, and we want to export them all into their own image. First of all, I'm going to just make a new folder on my desktop because I want to keep this in a folder. I don't want to put it on my desktop. So I'm going to call it, let's call it animation this time instead of anim. So I'll put animation in there, or rather I'll name it animation. And now to export all these images and to make sure you get all of them, on the timeline down here, which you may or may not have, but it should be on window timeline, just click on the first image and go all the way to the end and shift click. Are they not showing up, or oh, there they are. Shift click on the last one so you can select everyone, and then you click on the little arrow just to select the speed of the animation and put it to 1.0. This will make all the frames the same speed, 1 second between each frame, which is not the end result, of course, but it allows Photoshop to export them in the same, like in like a 1:1 ratio of frames, basically. So after that, you go to File, Export, Render Video. And this is a very beautiful little tool right here. It might take a little while to load, but it does not take long to export all these files, which is kind of cool. There is another option in the file menu, which is something about script, save individual layers as images or something like that. However, it does take a long time. A long time to do. It takes 20 minutes perhaps for a 500 frame animation. And this takes perhaps a minute. So now we have the original name up here. This is the original name. Actually, it's .gif originally, but we want to export it in JPEG. You can also export it in Targa and PNG. I'm not sure about DDS. I think DDS is like the recommended format to actually use for these sort of things. However, DDS is not supported by Photoshop by default, and you can install the NVIDIA plugin. I'm not sure if that actually allows you to export it as DDS here. Maybe it does. I haven't checked. But I'm going to export it as JPEG because JPEGs work. I haven't had any problems with them. And now, first of all, we need to put the name. So I'm going to name it frame underscore, just because it's going to add the numbers after that. As you see here, this is the numbering. Starting number 0, digits 3. You can select 1, 2, 3, or 1 to 5 digits. Since my animation has less than 1,000 frames, I might as well just put it to 3. It doesn't matter, because an extra 0 wouldn't make a difference. And this means that the files will be named file 000.jpg and file 001.jpg, etc., all the way up. And if I do frame underscore, it's going to name it just like I did in the example, frame underscore 001, 002, 003, etc. So yeah, JPEG format, starting at 0, digit 3, you can put that up or down, depending on how many frames you have. Size, this original size was actually 420 by 420, which was kind of funny, but I resized it to 512 just to make it a PAL2 resolution, which is recommended to use either 256 or 512. But this right here might be a little important actually too, because you cannot actually resize the animation in the level editor because it is a billboard, and billboards are for some reason not really affected by that. It looks like it in the level editor when you do it, but when you actually load the level, they just appear like the standard resolution. So if you want the animation to be a specific resolution or ratio, you'll probably want to define that here, the proper resolution you want to display it at. And then you want to put the frame rate to 1. Because we put all frames to be 1 frame per second, we want to export them at the frame rate of 1 frame per second, just so we get a ratio of 1 to 1, export all the images. Because if you select anything else, or if it doesn't match, it might skip a few frames, or so. Yeah, so range, select all frames, and that is basically it. Click render, and image with that name and range already exists in this location. What? I need to select the folder, of course. Right now it's selected the folder I was using the example. Let's select the animation folder on my desktop and render. And this process might take a little while, I'm not sure. Depends, but it should not really take long. If you open up the folder right here, you can already see it's at like 200, so it's halfway already. And it only takes a few seconds. It's kind of funny actually how Photoshop managed to render like over 20 JPEG images per second, or maybe even more. It probably was more than that actually. I don't know how long this took, 10 seconds. So yeah, they're frame 493. There we have all the frames. So now we can close Photoshop, or whatever you used. Like if you have Photoshop available, it's a very good option. If you don't, I'm not certain really where to find this sort of feature. There might be some online things, there might be some programs you can find, but yeah. So now we have the animation, and now I'm going to show you the tool. So this is the thread that I made for this tool on the Frictional Games forum. I'll have this linked in the description of the YouTube video if you're not already on it, because I'll be embedding it. But you can download the tool right here. I have 2 links in case one of them is down. So oh, looks like something I need to fix. This one's working though. See, I told you it was a good idea to have a mirror. I'll just fix that in a sec. But anyways, so once you download it, it's a zip file with a few files in it. As I mentioned before, you'll need the placeholder mesh or the model, which are included in here. So you'll need these files. Basically just take them and dump them in there. Might want to copy them if you're making more, I don't know, but just place them into your animation folder with all the frames, just to keep everything in the same location. And here's a readme file, basically with a few basic instructions. It might be I don't know, it's not the same text as on the thread itself, but it might be easier to understand if you read it on the thread, I'm not sure. But anyways, here's the tool itself. It's a Java tool, so it should work on all operating systems that have Java installed, although it might look a little different. I've noticed on Windows right now it's a little more cramped in some places, but anyways, it should work fine though. And this is a tool. It's a very small window. It just allows you to put in a few settings to match your animation. It doesn't actually open the animation itself. It is completely independent of the animation, but it generates files that need to match your animation. So first of all, this is the name. If you hover over it, it actually gives you a little, this is the image file name excluding number progression, which means it's, as it is by default, frame underscore, which is what I named it here. It's the name of the file excluding the numbers that increment for each frame. So it's the common name, basically. And for now it's frame underscore. So you want to put frame underscore under there, or whatever you have for your frames. And this one is very similar to the digits in Photoshop when you exported it, because right now I exported it with 3 digits. If you export it with 1 digit, it will just count up, and X plus is the same as 1 digit. It will just count up from like underscore 1, 2, 3, and then underscore 10, underscore 100. However, if you put it to 2 or 3 digits, if you put it to 3, which is what I'm going to be using now, it will always have 3 digits in the number progression. So instead of having underscore 1, it'll be underscore 001, just to keep all the digits the same. But if you have more than 1,000 frames, you'll need to put it up, because it doesn't actually support using this format on more than 3 digits. And then you want to put the extension. Currently, JPEG, PNG, TJ, and DDS are the ones on the list, and I think they all work. I'm not too sure about PNG actually. PNG is a little strange sometimes, but JPEG works, TJ works, and DDS should work. I haven't tried it yet. So JPEG matches the extension of my image. And then we have the animation itself. The amount of frames, we want to put in the amount, and this is the absolute amount, so it's 494 for me. In the last frame is actually called 493, but you need to put 494 because you need to include the first one, which is 0. And then you want to put the frame rate. I'm just going to keep it at 20 because 20 seems to be pretty good. And now you just want to select what you want to export, and normally you want all of these because, well, I'm not sure. I just gave the option to deselect one or select only a few if you already have exported some, and you just, in case you just want to update your xpobj file or the script, you can just select that and export it without exporting like 1,000 files, because these are the only ones that are a lot of files. And once you have your settings all set, click generate and we'll select where to save it. So I'm just going to select the animation folder right here on my desktop. It'll give me a little warning because I might overwrite some files in the process. And bam. Now, if I select all of them, 1,488 items now. So if you actually go down, it looks very similar to the folder I showed in the beginning, where it has all the mat files, all the ent files, and it includes animation script.hps down here, and it also includes the expobj right here. So now we use the tool. That's all you need a tool for, really, to generate those files, because it's a pain to do that on your own. I did it for a 35 frame animation once when I was developing it, and that just took me hours. So I'm gonna open up Amnesia, go into custom stories, just the same one. This will be the same result as in here, but I'm just gonna delete this folder for now, and in the custom story folder I'm just gonna put it into entities, just because that's where I would place it. I'm not sure, you might want to split it into, I don't know, billboards or whatever, but I'm gonna keep it in there. Except for the script file, of course, you want to put that in your map. But now I'm going to open up my level editor, just so that I can import animation and all that. So I'm going to make a level from scratch. So let's just start by placing down a floor. I'm not going to do it very detailed, but let's go to static objects, mansion base, floor, and just place some planks right there. And we'll want a light value, just because let's put it to 0.5. It's very bright, but it's functional. And now we want to put the player start spawn location. So I'm going to put that there, just facing, let's put it in the middle there. Okay. And let's just save it as a map inside here. I'll call it, let's call it animation 2. Just so it's independent. And now I'm going to go into File, Import Objects, and you want to import the xpobj file that was generated. So it should be located in the Entities Animation folder. There's animation.xpobj, or however you want to pronounce that extension. It's an extension though. So click load. It might take a little while depending on how many frames you have, but the mesh is very simple. So it shouldn't lag too bad in your level editor, hopefully. So here you have all the frames located in one. If you click away, you'll have only one of the frames selected, and you probably want to select all of them. You could do that, or you could do Control F and just select all the ones with frame in them. Yeah, so I'm just gonna, because it could be difficult to use this selection tool, but see, I'm not sure how it even detected that from here. But now we have all the frames, and what you can do, if you press B right here, it creates it into one compound. So it could be easier to move it around, and B to destroy it. And it froze because it has to unattach all those. But if you keep spam clicking, you'll see in the name of the general it says frame 300 and it's going down. So anyways, we have the animation right here, and by default they are all inactive. Let's rotate it a bit, and this is the side we want it to be on. So let's put it up there, and we have the spawn point right ahead of it, just about. And yeah, so as you can see, they're all inactive because you don't want them all at once. The script is going to loop through all these images. So that is basically it. Now that we've imported it, I'm just going to save the map again and minimize it, and before it will work, we need a script. So if you go back into here, let's find animation script. I'll just take it out there into my maps folder and call it animation 2. Animation 2, so that it matches the level name. And let's open it up, and it's a very small script file. As you can see, it's not very long because it just does the same thing over and over. And up here are the things you defined in the tool itself, but you can redefine them here if you like. For example, the frame rate. You can mess around with any frame rate you really want by changing this number. Now it's at 20. You can set it up to whatever you want. The frames need to be the amount of frames you want to show, of course, and the name needs to match the entity name without the number progression. So that should be by default correct. And then it just loops through all this. So basically, to start the animation, you just call the start loop script. So if I, for example, do void on start right here, excuse my keyboard if it's loud. Ugh, what did I do there? On start, which is executed at the very beginning, I'm just going to pull out start loop right ahead, right away, which will instantly start the animation. And now, one thing before we test it is that we change the startup level to animation 2. Alright, so now let's see if it's working right away. So let's load up that custom story. It's the same one as before, but it's a different level this time. And it should play the animation right away. And here you have it. Here's the animation, and it's playing at 20 FPS. It's located right here. It's actually double-sided because it's a billboard. And you can do whatever you want with this. You can change the resolution, but only using the extraction method from Photoshop or by having the actual GIF in a different resolution. I'm not sure how this actually... I haven't tried it with a different resolution that isn't a POW2 resolution. I imagine it works fine, but because a lot of the time the image works even if it isn't that resolution, but it still gives you a warning that it isn't. So I'm not too sure about it, but anyways, you can always put a transparent, you can have a POW2 resolution, for example, 1024 by 1024, and then you have like invisible alpha lines at the top and bottom if you export it in DDS or Targa, and they can simulate it to look like a widescreen TV perhaps. I don't know, but that is basically it, and that is it for the animation and the method and the whole tool and everything. So I hope you found this tool helpful, and hope you found this video helpful. And yeah, I suppose that would be it. I will thank you for watching, and I will see you later.